Moments of Inspiration with Mandla, Mkhwebane on Zoe Live Radio. The abundant life experience.
Welcome everyone to Moments of Inspiration. Today we are speaking about a very interesting topic. Today we are speaking about curiosity as a secret to success. Curiosity as a secret to success. One of the reasons that I love doing Moments of Inspiration, it's because I learn every day. I was speaking to a friend of mine who is a guest today, Dumisani Kumbi. We're speaking about what are the secrets of success and what are the different secrets of success. And one of the things that he brought up as I was requesting him to come and be a guest on the show was a matter of curiosity. And it took me a while to really understand that actually, actually curiosity is one of the very key secrets to success. And as I was doing research and as I was trying to understand what it means to be curious, as I was trying to understand what curiosity is about, I actually discovered that one of the reasons why we are never going to run out of content and topics to discuss and to teach and to bring on the table and to really dissect on Moments of Inspiration, it's because we have become curious. It's because of that element of curiosity. You know, one of my greatest fears when I started Moments of Inspiration was, am I going to be able to sustain this platform, especially with different kinds of topics and discussions that are going to keep people engaged and that are going to keep people wanting to listen and to come for more. But the more I'm in it, the more I am in the space, I realize that there is so much. You know, all you have to do is just to allow yourself, to be free, allow yourself to be empty. Because when you allow yourself to be empty, you are opening up a world of possibilities. And that, my friends, is a definition of curiosity. Curiosity is a key secret to success. Because when you are curious, there are two questions that you will always ask when you are a curious person. The first question is why? And opposite, why not? So it's why and why not? And the second question is how? You see, when you are a person who's always asking why not, and how, you have begun to be on a journey of curiosity, and you have begun to unlock a world of possibilities. Today we are doing part one of curiosity because the matter is so rich. We couldn't exhaust it on one episode. And also I would like to illustrate and demonstrate the importance of this matter of curiosity. And also, I have found out that there's not a lot of people that are talking about curiosity in a manner that we're going to be talking about. I've looked at a lot of gurus around success and a lot of people that we look up to. I tried to research their material. Curiosity comes up as a sentence or maybe even a paragraph, but never as a subject matter on its own. And today I want us to do justice to this topic and this discussion of curiosity because I believe it's so important. A lot of curious people have been misunderstood and they have been branded as rebellious because you are asking too many questions. You are a rebel without a cause. They've been branded as being too forward. We are papa. Why, when you want to know, why do you want to always know? They've been branded ungrateful because they are never satisfied. There is that thing that they want to find out more. There's a drive in them that I want to find out more. I want to understand how it works. I want to understand how this thing is built. I want to understand how this thing is coming together. They've been labeled as discontented. They are not content. We are taught, especially within even religious circles, that you need to be content. Yes, you need to be content, but also the very same a book that we read about not being discontent, it also talks about striving, that I need to strive, I need to stretch forth for the mark of the high calling. So there is an element of being content, but there's also an element of pressing on and trying to find answers. A lot of people who in this space of being curious, they've been labeled as eccentric because we think they are weird. They've been labeled as strange. But I want to tell you right now that everyone, especially in this time that we're living in, for you to succeed, you need to learn to be curious. Not all of us can have the element of curiosity that is at 100, but there has to be. You have to leave space for curiosity, because it's only when you leave that space for curiosity that you will be able to grow, that you will be able to take a leap forward, because curiosity is going to help you to take a leap forward. You'll be able to understand, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to perceive what is next. What is next? Why are things like this? How are things like this? How are things working? Those are the key questions. And join me today as I speak to my guest, Dumisani Kumbi, very smart, intellectual, intelligent young man that is going to be speaking to us about curiosity as a secret to success. Make an appointment to join us next time again. So join us today as we introduce this subject matter, and join us again next episode as we go deep and we try to understand what does it mean to be curious. And next week I'll also be speaking about the 7 benefits of curiosity. 7 benefits of curiosity. We'll also be talking about them our next episode. Join us on Moments of Inspiration, where we are always learning. Believe me, we are learning. But let's not end at learning. Let's act, because that's how we are going to prevail. Thank you. See you on the other side as I speak to my guest, Dumisani Kumbi.
Keeping you in the spirit, word and praise. Zoe Live Radio. Zoe Live Radio, the abundant life experience.
Welcome back, everyone, to Moments of Inspiration. I am excited today to have with me, I think I can also say a neighbor, in the beautiful city of Cape Town. We are both from Pretoria, but for some reason we just met here in the mother city. Dumisani Kumbi, how are you, my brother?
I'm well, Mandla. How are you, Maki?
I am very well, man. I am very well. I am so glad that I'm speaking to you today. We've been speaking about this for a long time, and now it's happening, man. It's happening. I'm so excited. Next time we'll make sure that we get to hear in the studio. Then we can sit side by side.
Now, for sure, you must tell your people to tell my people.
No, we'll make it happen, man. So, Yeah, today, we are talking about curiosity as a secret to success. For those that do not know Dumisani, Dumisani Kumbi is an IT governance and compliance specialist in the financial sector or industry. So it's very interesting. I mean, I'm learning every day here on Moments of Inspiration that there's such people like yourself, especially people who look like you and me. And he's passionate about life. He's someone that is extremely curious, a change agent, a leader. Someone that really has got a vision about life, and that's why I'm excited to be speaking to you, Dumisani. So today, we are talking about curiosity, and I really have to thank you for introducing me to this concept of curiosity. I mean, I would have never thought in all my life that curiosity could be such a deep, subject. But before we talk about curiosity, what we do here on Moments of Inspiration is that we like our guests to introduce themselves so that people can know who they are, where they are from, so that when we talk about the subject matter, it all makes sense. So go for it.
Oh. All right. Mandla, again, thank you so much for the invitation and for the platform. It's not often that you actually get to sit down and have a structured conversation with one, your neighbor, two, somebody that you're looking up to. In I keep saying, I appreciate your ability to respond to the moment, and this is the moment. This is where the times we're living in. It's the times of unconventional communication, unconventional mediums of packaging the message, and it's for times like this that we have to make a difference in ways that our predecessors could never do. So yeah, I'm really privileged. My name is Dumisani Kumbi, like you've introduced. It's difficult to describe myself, let alone what I do. But I'm an IT governance and compliance specialist for a large financial services, as you've pointed out. I look after a couple of teams. I look after 3 teams in particular. I've been in Cape Town for quite some time. I am legally trained and am also trained in IT. So it's quite a beautiful meeting of the two worlds that a lot of people have actually not uncovered. It's that little crack in the corridor. It's nice. Those beautiful houses that they profile on TV, where you would drive past it 10 times until they show you on the inside. You're like, oh, yeah, is that how it looks on the inside? So that's the beautiful industry that I'm in. There's room for lawyers in IT. There's room for IT in the legal world, and we could speak about it for forever and a day. But in a nutshell, that's what I do 8 to 5. And apart from that, I spend a lot of my time in church. It's not just a safe space for me, but it's a happy space for me. It's an area that's taught me my first leadership skills, my first leadership values. Were harnessed and honed in the safe confines of church. So structure, responsibility, time management, regard for delivery of tasks, and follow through. Simple things like that. And like the good book says, we don't look down on humble beginnings. We don't look down on the simplest of beginnings. And that's me. That's I will be making a mistake if I left my family out. I am a father. I usually say I'm a learner husband and a beginner father. So I'm learning every day as a husband to Busi, and I'm a beginner father to Rory and Twalaletu. So it's a beautiful time to be in their lives, and they complete me. So awesome. This is my
Beautiful, beautiful. So you spoke about never looking down on humble beginnings. Where are your beginnings?
I'm from Pretoria. I'm from Pretoria. I was born and bred in Pretoria. I was born in Garankuwa Hospital, for that matter. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We lived in Mkhwebane for the longest of times. I was schooled in Pretoria, in Silverton, for that matter.
Oh, wow.
I was raised in a church-loving family. Both my grandfathers were church planters and church starters, and my parents were heavily involved in church leadership. I think it's important for this context and for our conversation to speak. So whenever I reference church, I particularly speak about church leadership and church business. That's my passion. That's my sweet spot. It's the things that you look down on, because not everybody is comfortable enough to associate the lessons learned in a religious context and apply them in a commercial context or in a professional context. So it's by no means a religious sort of conversation, but it's if one is to speak about the wiring and the framework and the core. Where does it come from and what sustains it? It's I think these are the conversations we normally have in a pandemic. When we're told to check in, we're told to connect, and not just see our team members and staff as hands and as resources, but as spiritual beings, and understand how are you dealing with grief, how are you dealing with pain, and it'll be very difficult to do that without the core, the inner man, and I think that's why it's become. Now is the best time. If you are hiding, if you are uncomfortable, now is the best time to come forward with your convictions and say, guys, if it weren't for God, I don't know where I would be,
Exactly. I mean, these are the times we are living in, man. I am curious now. Did you go to CBC by any chance?
I was schooled opposite the Botanical Gardens. I'll say yes.
Wow, man. Wow, so many things make sense. Okay, we'll talk about it in our safe space. Okay.
So that's my humble beginning. I did change schools in further down also, and I had a stint towards. So I moved from Silverton, and I moved about 2 blocks back to Soutpansberg. So there's another school there that's producing Bafana players.
Okay. I see that school. Okay, awesome. Okay, no, that's wonderful, man. It's always good to reminisce and just to look back, because these are the things that made us. And there's something there to touch on, which I think we need to bring here on Moments of Inspiration at some point, because I'm also a Christian, and I was actually telling one guy yesterday that my first leadership role and my first leadership position actually happened in church. When I was a very, very shy. I think I still am, but I was so painfully shy that I could not even stand in front of class and speak and say anything. I remember I was called one time by my teacher to come and solve a mathematical problem, and I was one of those guys that would solve it very easily. But because I was so nervous and everyone was watching me, I got it wrong, and what an embarrassing moment. But when I got to church and I started leading, I started finding my leadership voice. I started finding, I think that is a very interesting topic, to really explore, because a lot of people, in fact, I think of most of the guests that have come through Moments of Inspiration, a lot of them, I would say maybe even 90% of them, they would say that they really found their leadership bearings within a church setting.
Yeah, I very well observed, Mandla. I think it's definitely worth unpacking. I don't even think one session is enough. We seldom underestimate, especially the non-missionary type structures. We seldom underappreciate that it's a structured environment. It's a structured environment, normally regulated by. I mean, I'm a governance professional, so you'll pardon me, but from time to time you realize that this is an institution with a constitution, with a framework, with an established leadership structure. That runs on a governing body that has a particular approval system and is expected to run multiple departments, and each of those departments with leaders. You know, if at any point in time, it's not a surprise that the people in those environments come out with very strong leadership credentials.
No, true. And I mean, another thing that I know you're passionate about is music. I mean, how many musicians started their careers in a church environment, you know? I mean, it's really amazing. Anyway, I mean, I don't want to sidetrack, you know. I think it's a topic for another day. For now, I am very interested also in the combination of a legal profession and IT, and the two coming together, you know, to produce this guy that is you and this path that you have taken. I mean, it's such a rare path in terms of career. I mean, how did it all happen? I mean, why did you choose to combine these two?
Before I answer, I think let me first acknowledge, and it's an attribute of yours that I'm picking up, that you are a curious person. And I think it's because of that we need topics like this so that people can understand how to harness that curiosity and how to raise a child full of questions. You know, how to speak to. I mean, I've got a friend, my lead pastor's son at home, arguably the closest friend I have. You can never have a conversation, and he's so unfair at times. You can never have a conversation where he is not leading with questions. He's got a question for a question after a question, and we don't recognize that as a leadership, as empowerment, because it takes people like that to put you at ease, to unlock structurally that which lies within you, that the world must see and that the world must encounter and benefit from. So thank you for being curious and for setting up a platform where we can even discuss and showcase the benefit of being curious, you know? I was never a fan of career guidance.
Hey, people are gonna fight with you.
Career guidance to me was a free period. Unfortunately, we needed to go and do those. On this day, we have a visitor who's going to present medicine. On this day, we're going to have an individual going to talk to accounting and to that. And I'm doing this intentionally. My brother's a surgeon, so I've got a world of regard for the medical profession. And my wife is an accountant, so I've got a world of regard for. What I want to highlight, Mandla, was those were obsolete for me. They were already outdated. They were already out of time. They didn't respond to what was, to the skills we had. I was playing computer games from standard 3, standard 4. You know, I didn't know that it was a skill. Right now we've got people that get paid. I was looking at a commercial contract. There's a Manchester City just professionally signed a FIFA soccer player as one of their players, right?
Wow!
So
Is that even a thing? Wow!
Yeah, it's e-games, and I think he's on 20,000 a week pounds. You know?
Wow!
So we are not yet at a stage where we can pair the interest in young people to the careers they could hold in future. you know. So the reason why I'm teasing at career guidance is because I'm also involved in the higher education space, and you can see the disconnect between what a school leaver leaves with from a graduation point of view versus the job we're going to have in the real world. You leave with one skill. I mean, one of the biggest statistics I was looking at was the rate of unemployment is not necessarily from the lack of job opportunities. The rate of unemployment is largely driven by the mismatch between the degree that graduates hold and the jobs that we're looking for. What the job is looking for, you know. So I remember my mom has got a large family, and we used to joke that a lot of her sisters have got beeps, you know, and they studied
biblical studies. Hey,
Baba.
Those were the days.
You know, and that's why for me, it was really difficult for me to choose. Even when you do your psychometrics and the results come back and you've done all this bad testing, I've been a curious child. At any point in time, I would do an extra 2 subjects, or I would participate in an extra sport or 2, you know.
Amazing.
So I've always difficulty committing to just one. And I think it's because you become curious and you want to know, what more could I be good at? What more could interest me? And also the why not factor. Like, why not? Why can't I be the only kid at auction with a tennis racket? You know?
Exactly.
Or the only kid at auction with a cricket bat, you know?
Exactly.
Why not? So that's arguably my earlier steps coming into the influencers. How did I end up in the profession and in the space that I'm in? And it was largely that we were coming in at a time. I remember 1999. Pretoria was filled with private colleges.
Yes.
Intech College.
I remember them very well.
They were popping up. Just down Church Street in the opposite cinema. You know,
everywhere.
And we could never tell which one was a legitimate institution of higher learning that was accredited, that was certified. We just didn't know. You know, we could never tell, and a lot of people fell foul to those institutions. You know, they ended up spending their money and sending their kids to institutions that are not certified or that didn't have credentials. So I was lucky that I chose one, and they came to present at our school. I remember the pitch 100%. It was CTI, Computer Training Institute, and they were based in Erasmuskloof at the CETA complex. They came to school one day during assembly, and they made a very, very simple pitch. Very simple pitch. After techies had come, after vets had come, after all of those schools had come, and they said, "Do you want to make 100,000 before your friend in university?"
Hey, no, I can see how that pitch was powerful.
I mean, we young, we impressionable, and you're thinking, it hit me. It stuck with me, and I was like, there's something simple about the message that those guys said. It wasn't a professor. There weren't research credits. It wasn't overladen. And I then stopped, and I realized I had been operating computers for a very, very long time. So I decided to try it, but I knew that I could pursue a computer science, where I didn't really have to commit too much. I could still do most of the things in one.
Got it.
And that's how I got actually into the industry. So that was my computer science degree. And then I realized once I got into IT that the reasons why the services are delivered in a particular way, or the reason why many IT environment is set up in a particular way, is to safeguard the interests of the business, and also to drive the business to establish whatever objectives or strategy they have. Now, the key to doing that is information security and governance. So that's I was very lucky, and again I was impressionable. And the head of security at this one bank where I was working drove a red convertible.
You're sold.
I know. I then became curious. Why does he wear a suit unlike us? IT guys don't care. Why does that one wear? Why does he have a particular ranking? And it turns out that he was actually in compliance, So I started looking around, trying to figure out what is this, because I realized I don't like developing and coding and programming. I'm not really a spanner boy building with my hands. My father's a mechanic, and I spent a great deal of time under the block and tackling. So I did not want to get my hands dirty. And that became the struggle. My first legal degree was largely so that I can get into the game. So I did an LLB, but it was still not enough, Long story short, I went to university and still I couldn't walk into a faculty and come out with an IT governance degree. So I had to combine and load and write industry certifications. I had to go through. So academically, the journey was a bit tough, but I was glad that I was always in institutions that saw the need for the role. And I could grow in those particular series. So
awesome.
That's why I don't like talking about work.
No, man, this is awesome. You know why? Because I like talking about careers and the background, because sometimes you think there's a kid out there, or there's someone, even an adult out there, who is even 40, who is thinking about career, who's thinking about their journey, and they think that they're the only ones sometimes. So I like stories like this because they kind of help people locate themselves.
True. Look, Mandla, it's difficult because in all of those degrees, and I've been through a couple of them, you are the only one.
Sure.
So you don't have a point of reference. So in a legal profession, they're looking at you funny. Are you going to do your articles? Are you going to practice? Are you going to? Why are you here? If you are in IT, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And it was difficult, and in the IT sense, where you work, when you leave and go to school and go to studies, and they keep asking, so what are you studying? Like, no, I've got a legal paper to submit. But why are you doing? Why are you doing? What's the, So it's difficult. It's difficult without a clear picture and a resolve. But I think from a career guidance point of view, it's extremely important to be relevant. It's extremely important to guide contextually and in light of the times we live in. We can't guide. You can't guide a child in 2021 about a career that's 50 years old. They want to be content. They want to be content creators.
Hey, TikTok.
They want to be app developers. They want to be using. And remember, Mandla, there's nothing standing between their desire, their wish, and their ability and their interest. It's all free platforms. It's all there.
No, barriers of entry are very low. I mean, they've been broken down. The plane is equal. Everyone can come in and jump in.
So you will have to convince them otherwise to start at university first. Then say, okay, all right, maybe come to university with your channel. You can grow viewers there. Let's formalize it. Maybe let's teach you a bit of administration at the back end. Maybe get a commercial degree just to be able to balance the papers, to submit financial statements, to pay your employees, to pay tax, Exactly. But it's important to be, and I'm telling you this for a reason. I've recently had to create roles that didn't exist. and go to market to fill them. One was largely as a result of the POPI Act and POPIA. We've never really had individuals in the privacy space where you can search and say, give me somebody who can do this, because it was either done through legal or through compliance, but it never resided within IT, you know. So as God would have it, after all this journey, one of my first couple of direct reports were traditionally trained lawyers.
Ah, wow, man. So it's happening. It's happening. So I mean, literally before your eyes and before our eyes, industries are popping up, careers are popping up, you know, new markets and new channels are literally popping up.
And you will miss it. If you're not curious, you'll miss it. If you're not if you're not living in the now, I mean, I'm shopping for a dissertation topic, and one of the areas I'm looking to write about is legal technology. You know, And in my search for legal technology, it has yielded two big things. One, legal technology is a discipline in its own right. It's a field that exists in its own right. You don't have to be. In other words, we're speaking about non-legal careers for lawyers. You know, where you can end up in so many. You can be a music manager. You can manage a Formula One driver and their career. There's so many avenues out there. But I didn't know that. Okay, maybe the second part is most interesting. That even inside the law firms, they are not immune to disruption. They're not immune to the change of technology. You know, they are hiring CIOs now. They are hiring chief technology officers now, because the days of the lawyer walking around with 100 documents as evidence, with meeting with clients and submitting timesheets and cases they're equal and better technology options that can assist them in so many ways. But you can't, you know, so you need somebody who can navigate both worlds, who will assist them and say, okay, this is what's possible and this is what is doable. So
I've always wondered when lawyers are actually gonna stop walking around with all those million documents and sending you documents you have to print. No, they look cool. I mean, they do. But I think, I mean, I had a legal case the other time, and the documents that I had, they filled a big file. And I was like, now we're wasting paper, we're printing.
And don't you like how much they want you to sign?
Exactly. You have to sign on anything, on everything. But I mean, it's great, man. I'm glad to see that there's a shift, and there's a shift in everything. But let's now talk about the subject matter. I know we've already started touching on it, but someone is sitting there, and they're asking themselves, I mean, curiosity. How can curiosity be a key factor of success? I mean, I think it could be considered as probably a soft skill, and maybe one of those that are not in the forefront, but if you do work around it, you'll actually realize, how important it is. But go for it.
I think, Mandla, that's one thing. Thank you for willing to discuss it and repackage it and maybe challenge our existing understanding of it. Okay, so I've got small kids, and one of the things that I've had to learn about raising small kids is that I don't know. Let me start with a position that says I don't know. The more I acknowledge that I don't know, the more it opens up so many worlds and so many sources of information that automatically just want to uplift me from a position of not knowing to knowing. Right? So if I don't empty the bucket, and go into the situation with an empty bucket. I can't attract new, and I think it's the law of osmosis pretty much. I can't go into a particular, I can't go into a higher concentration or higher dispensation already with liquids or with content from a previous situation. It will pull me back down. I must move light, consume, move light, consume, move light, consume. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned. And a simple, I mean, we could even take pregnancy, a simple journey in my wife's pregnancy where I'm trying to understand, how do you feel? Where, remember, in her world, she's experiencing this. It's hormones, it's physiological change, and it's manifestation. So she can't necessarily articulate. I have to download the pregnancy app. I have to read the pregnancy books. I have to ask parents with kids that are not so old who still remember the stage. But can still talk, you know. I must learn, right? And in so doing, you discover so much more. You know? And you become a better mate to your partner. You become a better parent, a better skill. Now, that wouldn't happen if I wasn't curious about what was happening in the life stage that I was in. What was happening around me. So if you're not reactive to your environment, and I'm not saying be observant. The skill is not being observant. The skill is being curious. In other words, have the ability to say, I am not satisfied with what I know. I realize that what I know has gotten me this far, but it will not keep me here. Right? And the reason why we spend so much time in speaking about the change that is happening around us is because you need to acknowledge it. Once you acknowledge that there is change around you, you automatically one step forward, because you can then say, okay, what does it look like? What does it mean to me? What does it call for? And tell me more about it. You know, I find it is so powerful to ask a simple question and say, tell me more. You know, tell me more. Or even worse, to have the humility and the learning attitude to say, show me how. No. Show me how. We in my space, and I see this a lot of times in the technological space. Businesses are free. Businesses. I'm in financial services, where a lot of what we push and a lot of how business used to happen was led by one person saying to another person, do this, buy this, it will change your life, you know? Nowadays, you and I just get an SMS or a link and we decide, I want to buy that thing. Let me buy it now. We've cut out the middleman, you know? And businesses are asking, we don't know what to do. What we've done for 50 to 100 years, but the new guys that seem to be the new customers in the new market, how are we going to service them? You know, how are we going to talk to them? If they're not curious about who is the next customer, where does the other business? What does this business look like 20 years from now? That business won't be around in 20. That business is going to be irrelevant. It's going to be obsolete. And to the leaders and to the potential leaders, the MBA case study you did 5 years ago is irrelevant. You know, the art of budgeting that you learned 5 years ago is being challenged now, because the consumption models, the expenditure models, the revenue streams are totally different. You know, one is in the cloud, one is hosted, one is co-sourced. Let's take a simple pandemic example. In the pandemic, your office lease has changed. Right? You've realized, hey, business is tough, but we're spending so much money on offices that nobody has been to in 2 years. Because everybody has been working from home. Right? You now have to change the operating model. You now have to spend less on office and spend more on empowering people to work from anywhere they are in the world. You know? Exactly. And if you're not curious about your balance sheet, You won't see that item. You won't see that Ogalana.
Something to change. Yeah, something is amiss.
And again, I'm not speaking about being observant. I'm speaking about being curious. If you're not curious about trends, about your industry, your personnel, your competitors, your friends, the clients you missed that were never your clients. I heard a saying once that we need to learn to fail. We need to learn to fail and to fail fast. So in other words, we need to learn to try things out. We need to learn to take small experiments. And this lady said, in commerce, we speak of failure, but in science, we speak of hypothesis. There's no failing if it's a hypothesis. It never was. It never existed. You see? And that's why you don't become afraid to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. So you think, you wonder, you ponder, you conceive, and you try, you experiment, and you quickly abandon. No, it won't work. And in abandoning, no part of you dies. There is no shame that comes your way. You are not associated with sunken costs. You are not associated with a failed trip. You promised us, but where is it? It was all a hypothesis. You didn't promise anybody anything. You said, I wonder, what if? Let me.
Exactly.
And for me, that's the beauty of that's what survival calls for in this day and age.
No, I agree.
If you lose that ability to wonder, to kick the tires, to quickly experiment, do it in a small little container and see if it works. If it works, we keep it. If it doesn't work, we throw it out.
Exactly.
Then we and I think lastly, we live in a bigger space, in a bigger universe. If you only had the time to ask somebody somewhere else who's doing exactly what you were doing, how they're doing it, you'll be so much better.
Exactly.
Because we are not the only ones on the planet. We are not the only, I wish, and that's the beauty of travel again. I wish we spend more time moving physically within our own country. I will then discover what it means to greet an African male, that a white male doesn't necessarily appreciate. I would then understand what automatically just by greeting an elderly male with the mannerisms, I've unlocked trust. He's giving me an extra 30 seconds, I've unlocked. Whereas if you unless you travel and see and come back with and take into account how people in different parts of the country do certain things, I don't know how you're going to represent us overseas. I really don't understand, because we go overseas a lot, and the thing about being a Black South African overseas is you are attractive. Individuals are curious about you. So, are you from the forgotten continent, the dark one? Tell me more. So now, what more are you going to say when you yourself have never been to Mpumalanga? True. When you yourself have never been in a vendor household, What are you going to say is diversity? In that sense, so that these are some of the things that just deep down I wish somehow we had an office at the airport. Before you leave, they're like, okay, here's the 20 questions. Before, don't misrepresent us when you get there. Remember the point about us,
Exactly.
But we've got a long way to go in that regard. But I'm an optimist, and I believe in our people, and I believe in this generation.
Amazing, man, amazing, really. So I mean, if you look at curiosity, a lot of people, they really underestimate its power. They underestimate the power of curiosity. And And like you say, that I think it has resulted in the demise of a lot of businesses, people, careers, even people have become stagnant. One of the things that I'm learning about curiosity is that you have to be willing to be surprised. If ungathanda ama surprise birthday, curiosity is not gonna work for you. Uma surprise uthukwa uthi hey nenzani nizongiphatha heart attack, then curiosity is not gonna work for you, because as you say, you are gonna discover things that you would not have thought they are in a certain way.
Like a friend of me challenged me the last time. She said, stay longer when you pick up your child at school. Arrive earlier and stay longer.
Wow.
Don't just rush and go away, pick up, and where's your shoes? Where's your bottle? Let's go.
Yeah.
Arrive and observe.
Yeah.
What is the state of play? What happens there? How do they interact? What do they like doing? Most importantly, where will you find her so that you can reach that state of equilibrium? Remember, you've stolen an hour from work. You are coming here. You are rushing for the next meeting. You quickly picking her up. Right? She's here. She's at a state of play. It's the end of her school day. She is at the mellowest of levels. What's going to happen? A disconnect in the car. Shapela, I need to get back to a meeting. And it just makes it difficult to even understand and have a moment to say, how was your day? What did you learn today? What did you like? And again, it denies you, the parent, the opportunity to learn, because remember, they're learning in unconventional ways, in unconventional mediums, and they're learning things as nazars, So you don't even have the time to say, hey, Nana, can we Google it together? Because Nam, I don't know. Because she took too long to get to the car. And manje usukwatile, and that's the mess. So it's curiosity as a life skill is extremely important. I used to always ask myself, when I'm listening to a motivational speaker, a teaching or a lesson, I would always try imagine, and I wonder how physically, how did they look like? Like I used to ask myself, so the streets of gold, physically, like how did they look like?
Exactly.
That is all. But that's wonder. I don't want to confuse wonder and curiosity. Curiosity is when you then say, what can I do about it? I refuse to settle. I refuse to stop and say, this is what happiness looks like, or this is what success looks like for me, and I will stop here. It needs to be a continuous state. And that for me is the perpetual energy source within a leader that you require. There's no complacency will kill you. And remember that there are many items that will lead you to a false sense of complacency. The very complacency that you have may not even be true. Because it may be a false sense. It may be last year's performance results. It doesn't mean it's this year's performance results.
Exactly.
And that's the typical your management frameworks, your ISO 9000, your continuous improvement, your learn, your learn, apply, unlearn, relearn cycle. You have to continuously ask yourself, could it have been done better? Could it have been done quicker? Could it have been done in a kinder way? Could it have had a bigger impact than it did before? And that for me is the extent and the power of curiosity. It's the sad part about it is it can't be sponsored. It has to come from within you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the most important thing, and I think that's also key. I would like us to speak about how to become a more curious person, but right now, right here, I think that we need a part 2 of this discussion, because I want us to do justice to it. It's so interesting. I think, and I want to show the importance of it, even to those people that are listening or watching, and they really are struggling maybe to unpack, this trait or this secret. I think it's important. So maybe let's end it here. So I read the other day that a 4-year-old child, they ask the why question, why this, why that, why this, why that, over, I think it's over 200 times. I might be mistaken, but it's over 200 times a day. Yes. Yeah. Then when you become, I think about 10, 12, it goes to about 70 times. Then now the influence is coming, the world is coming, the structure is coming, like you say, and I like what you said earlier, where you said that structure, being structured and being confined into a structure, it's a problem, because then you don't think outside of the box, right? Then exactly, and by the time now they're 18 or they're adults, the why question is only asked 20 times. And at our age, me and you, we don't even ask why anymore, we just do. Yeah, exactly.
Mandla, that's very close to one of the things that I'm most passionate about, and that's dreams.
Yeah.
We lose our ability to dream. We lose the confidence to articulate the dreams. We lose the confidence to trust somebody and say, help me bring this dream to life. We move to a perpetual cycle of just existence and living, and the two are very related. If you're not curious, you can't dream about making it work. You can't move to the actionable stage of those things. And I think it's a very great analogy that you've pointed out, that as we teach our kids structure, and as we teach them the safety of home and the beauty of life, let's not blunt their curiosity. Let's not destroy and take away their wonder and their natural fascination and exploration with life. And by kids, it could be the leaders under us that we are grooming. It could be the people we are mentoring. It could be the managers we report to. Play your part. Play your part in adding a bit of spice into the situation. Being the, my wife took me to this fancy place, and she asked me, how does the food taste? And I said, it smells wonderful. And she said, no. How does it taste? I'm asking about the taste. We don't have culinary.
Hey, I'm on palate.
And then she stopped and she said, Dumisani, I understand you. And I think I almost denied you the opportunity to ask you, how did you interact with the meal as a whole? How was it to you aesthetically? Was it visibly appealing? Aromatically, how did the smell appeal to you?
The whole package,
The whole package. And would you come back again, even though the food may disappoint on the one day, but the venue, the treatment, everything else may be appealing, So
exactly.
Let's not deny, let's not take our template of life into situations. When you meet the next person, allow them to influence your experience, because that's what great leaders do. Great leaders are
Exactly.
And in this case, I just wanted to add to your toolkit of success and say, curiosity could be the other key to unlock the next level of success and productivity.
Exactly. Tumsan, let's end it here today. Thank you so much. I would like us to do a part 2, if you don't mind. And I would like to talk more about how you can develop into a more curious person. So thank you so much, everyone. And this was really lovely. Join us next time on Moments of Inspiration. Thank you so much, Tumsani. See you next time.
Exercising authority over all powers of the enemy. Gospel music power. Zoe Live Radio.